Well, first off, I want to talk about there is a brand new show that is appearing on Beacon, and this is a really fun concept for a live show, a live role playing show. How did this come about? Like, how did this happen? Because I love this. And how did this all connect to like the folks at Critic Role and Beacon and all of that?
Well, I mean, we've been working with them forever. I mean, I
Yeah.
co-created that Legend of Vox Machina show with them and EP on Mighty Nine, and we do both of those shows at the studio. But even before that, I'd worked with them as voice actors, and Sam Riegel had been a voice director on many shows at Titmouse. So I've known those guys for years, for like 15 years or something. So, yeah, I mean, it was just through conversation. We kind of shot this thing not knowing what we were going to do with it. And then I was talking to Travis about a couple of things, and he was like, "Hey, you have anything that might work for this Beacon?" I was like, "Actually, we just shot 11 episodes. They're done. They're in the can." He's like, "What the? We like need stuff right now." So it worked out perfectly. I mean,
I
Josh and I
mean,
met at GaryCon,
yeah.
So that's where it really started. I was like, he's such a good DM, and comedic sensibilities were very similar. And then you came out here to Mouse, uh, and we were like, "What are you doing in that room? You gonna shoot something in that room?" I was like, "I want to shoot something in that
Yes.
room."
Like
Why you
I did
elaborate?
pretty much. I did pretty much just like come out. I moved out to LA. My background was already in film and television, but I was like crew side of things. So like I moved out to LA, and I worked at Titmouse for a little bit, and I saw the really cool D&D room they had in there. And I was like, "Hey, Chris, we should. You ever want to like do something in that really cool D&D room you built in your office?" He's like, "Actually, yeah, I was thinking about doing something. Why?" And I'm like, "Well, I got an idea," and that was kind of just how it started.
Yeah,
Uh,
and it really evolved because we were like, "What are we gonna shoot in there?" And then, the drawing part came up because it's like, hey, we work with a lot of artists and people who could draw, and then we're like, we want to make it different than just like your, like kind of a traditional actual play show. So we had the idea of the testimonials, and then the last thing was the commentators was like kind of because initially it was going to be more of just like a host, like I was going to intro it and chime in, but it's like, oh man, if we make it more like a like sportscasters, that'll make more sense. And then I asked Blaine because he's so good at that. Like he used to do a thing at the Steve Allen Theater called Roll to Attack, where he ran a game like a game show, and you came on like game show attended contestants as the players, and I'd played on that a couple of times, and I was like, I think he'd be good at this. So
And he
uh,
was.
is there something challenging like being an announcer and for you, Josh, being a dungeon master and having to adjudicate the drawings? Like that's the wildest thing. So are you determining success by how much you like the drawing?
At first, we kind of went into it going just like I would like it. I would just like for the players to like, if something funny happens or if there's like a particular scene that sticks out in their mind, which as you're playing D&D, I've played with people who doodle while they play before, and like that was a huge part of the inspiration for like the pitch on that aspect of it is like I've just met a lot of people who are art minded who they just pick out specific moments in their mind that stick out to them and they just doodle it. So like I kind of had faith that it was going to be happening naturally, but it turned into by the end of the first season. This is not a spoiler to say this. By the end of the first season, I just start throwing out uh inspiration. Like if they draw something cool, I'm just like, ah, yeah, you get
which they
inspiration for that
never
draw.
used.
No, they didn't. They never use it, but it. There are moments where I would like prompt a drawing, or if they'll be like, "Oh, what does that kind of look like?" I'm like, "I don't know, draw it." And so like I wanted it to feel a little bit more kind of free flowing with how and what they drew in the moment, rather than like tasking them with specific things. So uh, I don't know. It just sort of more push it towards the collaborative side of things rather than like the homework side of things, I guess.
And how is it being an announcer for that to give the play by play for a D&D game? I always love stuff like that because there's kind of a sporting event around like any kind of combat interaction in a D&D game.
Yeah, I mean, it really came together. I mean, what's great is, Blaine's been on uh, uh, Nerd Poker, Brian Posehn's Nerd Poker since the
Yeah.
beginning. So he's kind of like a veteran in a way, like that these sportscasters usually have. Like, it's like, oh, this guy, used to be, an NFL player, 15 years ago, and now he's an announcer. I felt that was going to be a good vibe. The way that we set it up was like that I would be, I had the little like telestrator type thing. Like I would be the John Madden and he'd be like the Fran Tarkenton, to use like really old references.
Awesome. Was there anything like so we've got like a great set of guests, like who all is going to be in this? We've got like that guest seat that's always available for each episode, correct?
Yeah, and they're all just friends, really. We just reached out to people that I knew would probably be down. We didn't have like, I mean, this is, like a lot of D&D actual plays. We didn't really have a tremendous budget for this thing, so we didn't have like a casting director or anything like that. Just kind of like emailed friends, and we actually had a lot of people like be interested, but it kind of worked out because it's like, okay, these are the dates that we're shooting, and then that narrows it down of like, okay, these we need you on these dates. And I think, yeah, pretty much, there's one person who couldn't make it on the date, so we brought another guest back that date. But pretty much everybody who we asked was down. There was like one person we were going after that their agent was like, hey, maybe you'll do it. And then we never heard back. We kind of got ghosted on it, but I might try again for this
We
season.
should absolutely try again
we've
because I know who you're
worked with
talking
that
about.
person on other jobs before as a voice actor, as a musician, as a writer on different cartoons. So it'd be great to get him on the show, which would be fun.
Hopefully for season 2.
Yeah.
For season 2. That's what I'm saying. We're holding that hope for season 2. So I'm not gonna say that person's name right now. Sorry if that's frustrating to your audience.
No, it's a good teaser. It's
But
a
I
good
think
teaser.
it was a good mix because we have some people who are like gamers. Like obviously Luke Gygax is a gamer, but then we have some people like Neckface, who isn't really a gamer, but he rolled with it, or like Brendan Small, who's a great improv comedian, but not really a gamer, but they really they rolled with it and it was fun. Or people who say they're not gamers and then they are, like Eric Bauza, who's done so much. He's like, what are we doing? He's like, I don't think I've ever played the D&D on like this before. I'm like, yeah, we'll walk you through it. We'll play. He's like, well, I have been on Critical Role before. I was like, well, you've done this before.
Was anyone nervous being who you are, Chris, and having to like draw on a live play show? Like, were they afraid of judgment? I mean, like
There
you
were
were
a few
like a titan of animation. So
I think some people were, the people who were, I mean, Sean and Heather, who are in the main cast, are both like artists who draw live a lot. Like,
yeah,
Sean draws on stream like continuously, and Heather posts her artwork all the time and sometimes draws on stream. I know I've been on streams with her drawing before. So they, I think, were like, Sean was kind of like the bullseye of a person who does funny voices, draws all the time live, and plays D&D. So we're like, he's going to be able to do everything. Rashawn, she was like, I don't draw a lot, but she also wasn't shy about it too, because she gets the assignment. I mean, she's such an accomplished improv comedian, and Josh knew her before this. Like, it was all just like our collective friends that we brought in. Heather hadn't played a lot of D&D. I think it only played in one D&D game before, but she was a natural. Jason, obviously, is like, one of the superstars of this industry. So yeah, I think like sometimes people be like, I don't really draw a lot, but I don't think anybody really, at least if they were nervous, they didn't like portray nervous.
No, I think it's also important, like, part of what we wanted to get across with the show in terms of the drawing is that, like, who cares if you don't draw? Like, are you having fun drawing? Cool, that's literally all it takes, and like that's all we're asking for. So like, you have a gradient of skill levels in terms of like drawing capability coming through the table. Like some of the guests we were getting, we kind of did that we were asking people with that in mind. Like some of the people were titans of the animation industry, and they were cranking out drawings while they were playing, sort of thing. And others only did a couple drawings, or maybe they're not pro artists, but like it didn't really matter. It all kind of adds to the comedy of the thing. So the point isn't be amazing; it's just do it.
Yeah.
And the aesthetic of the show is kind of like a crunchy, like we wanted it to feel very rough around the edges. So if the drawings feel that way, that's kind of perfect. We weren't going for slick.
What was your favorite part of this project? It's so unique. It's such a unique idea. I love it. But like were there, without having to spoil anything, like were there some wild moments or unforeseen circumstances that broke you?
Yeah.
uh,
I mean, my favorite part, other than like obviously like running the game was really fun, and like seeing the kinds of like set pieces that our art team was producing, like that was really cool. And like getting also to see, for me as a dungeon master, like I don't consider myself like a professional artist by any means, but then if I would say things and then it would come to life on somebody's page suddenly and they'd show me and I'd be like, whoa, that's so cool. It's like it's right in front of me now. That's amazing. So like just seeing things I'm describing actively coming to life in front of me was like a really cool part of the process, I think. But then also just like trying to figure out how to, just the act of trying to figure out how to change the format of the actual play in enough of a way to be iterative and not just like tossing stuff on top of it. Like that kind of mental game was also kind of a fun part of the process, I guess.
Yeah, as a dungeon master, like your processor is always kind of close to meltdown, anyways. But then on top of this, you have this drawing element. So I cannot imagine what that was like for you.
It was cool. Honestly, for me, it wasn't that hard of a lift. Like, because I was so focused on like the game mastering part, and there was way more on the players to draw. You'll see, I did a couple drawings for the show, but like, it was mostly on the players. So I felt pretty at ease from that aspect of it.
There were some because what you don't know, because we tried to shoot these as around like approximately 3-hour games. They get cut down, maybe 2.5, depending on like how much time we take to set up. So it was like getting in up to speed of like how long a session, like how much stuff you should have in a session that results in a 3-hour game. And also some of the things where I was like, we should use these things. And it's like, we've tried, like at the beginning, I think we cut all this stuff out. It's like, oh, let's use like fate dice and have them roll,
Oh yeah.
for fate whenever they want. And they kind of did it a couple times in the first session and never use it again. So we're like, all right, let's just cut that out. Things like that were learning experiences. And then, like we even considered, because there were times where I would come in and be like, all right, let's see if we can like, because all the gameplay is real, but sometimes we would shortcut. We'd be like, all right, we got to cut this part of the story out, or else we're going to run out of time in this session. So we'd come in and be like, okay, cool. So pretend that what just happened didn't happen. Go back, reset like before that encounter, and we're going to rerun it again. And then Josh would do like a truncated version of like, shortcut it. And we considered keeping some of that stuff in, but it didn't really flow, because we were like, oh, maybe it'd be fun to be like real crunchy and behind the scenes. We do have some behind the scenes moments, like my dumb hat falling off and other things happening. But that like didn't like, it didn't flow as well. So we cut that stuff out, but maybe we'll do that in the future. We're open to like showing all the
How the sausage got made.
The sausage gets made.
What I mean, like, how if you had to elevator pitch people like what this show feels like? It looks like it's pretty frenetic from the trailer itself. How long are these episodes, and what is the vibe?
They're about an hour long.
Yeah,
What do you think the vibe is, Josh?
They're about an hour long. Did that on purpose. The vibe is meant to be like I want it to feel like a game you could be playing in your like the garage with your friends. Like I don't need. We never approached this from the standpoint of having sheen on it. Like it was always meant to be a little bit messy, kind of crunchy. very like DIY in all aspects of it, I guess. So like I think the vibe is like we kept saying punk. We wanted it to be punk, and we wanted it to be like you look at it and you go, I could do that, and it's like cool, then do it. So that's kind of what my hope for the vibe is anyway.
Also, I feel like it's a good actual play show for like an entry level like D&D person. If they're like, hey, I don't know if I want to watch a 3 hour long session. Also, I don't know what it means when you say advantage or things like that. So we had, I think, the testimonials, the commentators, and also some like on-screen graphics help with people. Sometimes we'll have like a little something will slide on, it'll tell you a definition of what something means in the game, or will describe it as the commentators or the testimonial people will say, when they're talking about the game, will say, you know, if they understood what was happening or not, or clarify something that happened at the table.
What do you think is magical about tabletop games, whether it's D&D or any other type of game? Like I mean, you've been in animation for a long time. You are an accomplished dungeon master. We've got it's so amazing to be living in an era where we've had a D&D movie, and then we've had Vox Machina have season after season after season, and then Mighty Nine. And if you told me when I was 8 years old this would happen, and that you would have this job or I would have this job,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have believed it. So like, why? I'd be like, what has this experience been like for you? Like you're so entrenched for both of you to have a life like this right now.
Well,
I know, big question.
Gosh, why don't you
man.
start?
It's insane. It's crazy. Like I don't know how else you would describe any of that. Like when I first started playing, it was still 3.5. I knew a total of 2 other people who knew how to play D&D. I never in my no, there, if you told teenage me right now that I would be sitting here talking to you about this kind of thing, I'd be like, what do you mean? But like but it's so cool, and I think that like to address the question, what's part of the magic, I think that a lot of people found, especially during COVID, like when everyone was kind of like locked down but we were still able to play online and stuff like that, like there's an inherent sort of like vulnerability when it comes to playing D&D, where like you have to let yourself feel silly in order to like get into it a little bit, right? So like just going through that experience with your friends and like, doing that in a space with people you trust and like who are also in on it kind of thing, like that's that sort of lightning in a bottle that makes all the D&D stuff so fun and like cool. So I think the fact that I kind of get to do this as my job is absolutely crazy, and like I feel like so humbled and grateful and like so privileged to be able to like sit here and talk about it in this way, and like I'm very excited to share what we've been working on.
Great. That's your answer, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, who knew? But it's we're in a great time for it. I don't know. I kind of feel like I have some weird like so I can't help but the things that I do as my hobbies, they end up becoming the stuff I do for my job. I don't know how it happens. I just keep pursuing it and pursuing it, and then it happens. I don't know how it happens. This is what it just does.
And when is the show airing on Beacon? And is it's weekly, correct?
It is
Yeah.
weekly.
So it'll be on Beacon Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. starting the 25th, which is, I don't know when this is
Tomorrow.
It'd be exhibited,
yeah.
but it is tomorrow at the time of and yeah, that'll be going for 11 weeks of brand new episodes.
That's fantastic. And I'd be remiss not to ask. You also have a kind of a drinking game. It's your
Oh
choice
yeah,
what you drink, but
Yeah.
but for
yeah,
tabletop as well. That was
yeah,
newly released. What is that
yeah.
game?
That's called Drunkards, Druggies, and Delinquents, and you can get that on Titmousestuff.com. You can also get a Draw Your Weapons shirt on Titmousestuff.com if you want.
The game
Very
is really
cool.
good
Decide that
though.
you are a fan of Draw Your Weapons. You could get a shirt and wear it and show people, look at me, I got a shirt.
And like, how does that game work? That you made, because you actually showed me when we were at GaryCon,
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah,
a
yeah.
rough version of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really much more of a drinking game
Yeah.
than it is it's not something you'd run a campaign in. It's a good one shot. It's
Uh,
fun for like playing it. It's like a 1-2 hour, maybe 3 hours if you want to get real drunk, But
Yeah.
I'm surprised at actually how, because it was designed as kind of like just a meat grinder,
Yeah.
and also there's no one like game master. It goes around the table almost like a board game where everybody gets to run the monsters on their turn and does a round. But yeah, it's and a lot of people who've never played any kind of role playing game can pick it up and play it.
Yeah.
We made real big cards to have the rules on them. You can see them real easy if you're drunk or in a dark room. Or in a
If you play
bar.
that game rules as written, you will get
Yeah.
real drunk too. So like,
Yeah.
I have to ask, you guys are both such fantastic dungeon masters, and it's fantastic to meet both of you. I've got to meet you before this, Chris, and Josh
Yeah.
and I don't know if we've met each other.
might have. Yeah.
But what is your tried and true dungeon master advice for people out there that look up to both of you?
You go
That's-
first on that one.
Me go first. I don't know. People look up to me. Pick someone better. I don't like. But I guess if you're thinking about dungeon mastering and you're like, I don't know, it seems like a lot. It was a lot for all of us at some point. Just do it, man. Like, it doesn't matter if you're amazing. You don't need to be, you don't need to be Matt Mercer. You don't need to be like any of these people who we watch and adore. We can, grab pieces and stuff from them. We steal from each other all the time. Well, I mean, I steal from them anyway. But no, just do it. Like, you don't have to be amazing at something to have fun doing it. So just do it.
Yeah.
I think just do it's always good. And I think because I started as a kid, right? I was like 9 or 10 when we started playing D&D, and we all just there was no one dungeon master in our group. We all took turns because as a kid, like, there was no pressure. There was no example of what a dungeon master should be. We didn't like prepare very much. And that's what I think. It's like, don't worry about, you don't have to prepare so much. I think a lot of people
you don't.
put so much effort into it. It's good. You could do that. That's cool, but you don't have to. You could really, it's funny when I see my son, when he first started like Dungeon Master games, he would just set up all this Dwarven Forge and not even know what the story was and just improv it along the way. I'm like, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
And what's your player advice? Like, what to you makes a great player?
Oh man.
Take notes.
Taking notes is good. If you're doing a campaign, definitely taking notes is a good thing to do.
Press the red
Correct.
button.
For a player, I think it's like it's like the rules of improv, right? Try to include everybody. Like, don't shut people down. Like, if somebody's got a stupid idea, try to see how you could support it versus like shutting it down, because it'll lead to, like, the stupider the idea, the better usually at the table, And if you've got a DM that rolls with it, like, I find the best DMs are, they don't let everybody do anything they want, but if there's a really weird idea, they'll try and find a way for you to like roll for it or give you a chance for it to happen. Even if it's like, what was it? I was playing in a game my friend Chip was running, and it had something where something living triggered a trap, right? So one of the players cut off, it was actually my son, cut off his finger and threw it across the trap. And he's like, man, is that considered living? And one of the other players was like, well, if your finger gets cut off, you have a certain amount of time and you can reattach it to your hand and it'll still work. So they're still, it's not dead. It's not beyond. So he's like, all right, that's enough. That's enough to convince me. He was like looking for a way to say yes, and I think that's a good way to
I
do
love that. Thank you for supporting the channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and leave a comment. That all helps the channel. And we have a Patreon page where that's how we fund creating these videos, flying around the country, and affording the equipment to do these interviews. And we also make playtest material as well. Thank you so much for watching.